Bit more normal. Bit more normal. Bit more normal for my stream. There's normal, and then there's my stream. There's nothing normal here. Why is that so loud? Why is that peaking? That should not be peaking. No peaking. Alright, whatever. Let's go here. View channel. Live. View channel. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. Let's bust out this chant. Live. Pop-out chant. Yeah, that's where I have to be so bad. I have to be so fucking bad. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. If I spill fucking beer in this fucking goddamn thing again, I'll choose you as the enemy. I have too many fucking projects going on. I'm fucking dying. Fuck! What in the fuck is happening? No one knows what's happening. I'm building speakers. No one gives a shit about me building speakers. No one gives a shit about how much I care about building these speakers. And I care so much about it. And it's such nonsense. Apparently, but maybe it's the best. Maybe it's the best one. Maybe it's the fucking time that I do it. The noise is peaking. You're wrong. You're wrong. All of these things are wrong. You're wrong. Why are you? Oh. Smart is special about your speakers. Oh, what is special? I made them. What's special about my speakers is I made them. There's literally nothing special about them. There's also nothing special about the people that make the fucking $100,000 speakers. If I spend a week building my speakers and they look really nice and they sound good, I should get $250. Right? Please. Please. That's what Trump. Oh. All right. What's happening here, Trump?
Why hasn't the FBI taken over the Nancy Guthrie case as the lead investigator? Do you have any updates on how that's going?
Well, they took it over originally. You know, it was a local case originally, and they didn't want to let go of it, which is fine. It's up to them. It's really up to the community. But ultimately, when the FBI got involved, I think, progress has been made. Complicated.
Jesus Christ.
Why hasn't the
All politics aside, that guy's so old. What the fuck? That guy's so fucking old. Having a hard time with what I ate earlier. Spicy. Spicy is what I ate earlier. Pop up. 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 Pop up.
Scriser Microsoft, Scriser Oracle, Scriser Colianachus, Scriser Kiniachus, Cordelas, Uzakazaboresha, Nimmer can stop, Nimmer can stop, Nimmer can stop, Nimmer can stop, my ink in Sevolak Porker book.
All the bad shit that Britain and its colonies did around the world, they kind of practiced on Ireland first.
They tried to get rid of all Irish speaking, and it was all English for a couple of 100 years.
Some of my very earliest memories are intense shame because we were speaking Irish at home.
That is the cause of language death all over the world.
But I mean, the real credit for the Irish language revival goes to these families who refused to break that chain in the first place, who kept the language alive for us in particular because we're from the north.
In the north of Ireland, what you had was quite a high concentration of Protestant people, so you had sectarianism. So if you were an Irish Catholic, which meant that you were effectively an indigenous Irish person, you couldn't access education, you couldn't vote, you couldn't own land over a certain size, you couldn't speak the Irish language.
British people thought it was like a sense of identity, kind of, and that
Be right back. I'll be right back. I use here. You shut up. Fucking Mexican mixer. Fucking right, twat, sign ya. Fuck no, alright. That's why was just drunk? Nothing to give up. I thought that would help my fucking hiccups.
If people were speaking a lot of Irish, playing Irish sports, Irish traditional music, they'd want their own country back.
It was genocide. They didn't want us to just become like them. It's like, we want you to die and disappear so you can be replaced.
The real credit should go to all the families in the west of Ireland that didn't break the chain. But if you're going to gas us up, we'll take it every now and again.
Kneecap.
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 Kneecap. I'm so proud of them, I really am.
I know there's a bit of controversy at the moment, but I think they're great.
Hi, it's Misha Cara, August House Meg, Fulham Gaelic, Margalla Kneecap.
I love
it's
them
something
so
that,
much.
that I value
My
a
whole
lot, to
heart goes out
have
to
something in
Kneecap.
common with people like them. It's such a nice feeling.
Which parts of Ireland currently have the highest concentration of native first language Irish speakers?
Oh God, I'd say it'd be the Gaeltacht.
The Gaeltacht area is like there are small pockets around Ireland where the day-to-day language is still the indigenous native language of Ireland, which is Gaeilge.
In these Gael-talked areas, the language isn't only kept alive in the home, it's also taught as a primary language in Gael schools, where Irish is learned through a process of full immersion.
How would I say, hey, my name's Andrew?
Kurisitatu Tama Anum Andrew.
Kurisitatu Anum Andrew?
Yeah, Thurston. Yeah, I suppose.
I'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
My teachers and my classmates are really helpful when I can't really understand it that well. They help me a lot.
I think it was in the 90s, there was a huge increase in the amount of Gael Scoilna that were created in the country and that were opened and established, and since then it has increased year on year.
I suppose the beauty of it is that they're not afraid to make mistakes.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes. I think that's the main thing. I think people get quite intimidated in any language, but especially in Irish, because there's such a small amount of us that when people try to learn the language, they kind of feel like that other people will be judging them.
And there is more stuff happening now than there ever was before. Go to a pop-up Gaeltacht, go to a Kirk Pint, have a pint, use whatever few words of Irish you have. You'd be surprised how much you know and how quickly it'll all come back to you. Bí bro dú las de chud Gaeilge.
It's for your country.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Endangered Language series here at Channel 5, a 10-part series that'll explore the frontiers of linguistic revival across the planet. Hope you guys enjoy.
Underneath all the thunder and there's magic, and if there's a better way to live, I gotta have it. Because I think all day, but when I drink I'm okay. Gets further away every time I try grab it. Underneath all the chattering there's heaven. Got a little peak one day, made me feel I go a 7. I know it exists, but I can't stop getting pissed. One more thing, I'll be added to the list.
Wait, one sec. Before we proceed, I have some fantastic news to share with our stateside supporters. We are going on tour in less than... Cornelius Callahan was in the room less than an hour later. Cornelius was my great-grandfather, who I called Pop. Sadly, Pop passed when I was 3. But if heaven is real, he's probably looking down right now with total bewilderment at the fact that that little baby is now 20.
I think Andrew was an unfair cancellation. I think Woke One fucked him up. I think We need to let people get better for their mistakes. I don't think it's a end all be all. And Andrew's a good example of that. I don't think Andrew's about to make the same dumbass mistakes he made when he was young. I don't think any of us are. I've made a bunch of dumbass mistakes when I was young. A bunch of them. I don't hold any of that to my heart, other than regret and sympathy and a whole regret and deep sadness. I want the world to prevent another my accident when I was young, and that's all I want forward. I never want a world to exist again where I felt that it was okay with what I did when I was a dumbass kid.
28 on something called a plane, headed back to the old country to see where his dad grew up. I'm doing this for a few reasons. Firstly, I've always grown up with a yearning to understand where our family came from. Bearing an Irish name and celebrating some Irish holidays, I always knew we had some sort of ancestral connection, but nobody was there to explain it. That's a common immigrant story, especially for European immigrants in the early 1900s, whose primary goal was assimilation into the white American majority. They wanted to be normal as fast as possible, and from what it seems, Jeremiah chose to not really pass down much information about Irish history, food, culture, and of course, information about the conditions that caused his departure. After all, why would he? Jeremiah wanted a new life. And also, anti-Irish discrimination was a big thing on the East Coast back then.
Job-stealing drunk cretins.
Anyways, all these complex thoughts, feelings, and new questions brought me to a very familiar place for white people, which is spitting into a tube after ordering a genealogy test online in the hopes that a DNA broker can tell me what specific kind of European I am. And the results were shocking. I learned that I was even more Irish than I previously thought. 92.5% in fact. So back in 2023, which is when I took the
Irish?
test, I began covering Irish events in an attempt to learn more about my people.
Irish guy at an Irish festival doing Irish things.
He's 92% Irish. My best friend Jordan thought he was so Irish. He's fucking nothing.
He's a dick. Tell him I said that.
Mark Wahlberg!
Wait, isn't he a raging racist?
Take off your pants. Take off your underwear and wear the kilt properly. Now. Is this on YouTube? Fuck YouTube.
Although these events were somewhat fun, emphasis on somewhat, they virtually taught me nothing about Ireland and only led me to more questions about Jeremiah Callahan and the way that things were. So I went down the shore to talk with my pop-up, Jeremiah's grandson, and then met up with Uncle Bobby in Havertown, PA. From a Callahan perspective, Uncle Bobby is kind of seen as the de facto family historian with an extensive catalog of ancient documents and lore. He's also a realtor if you're looking for a home around Westchester Pike.
Good day, everybody. Bobby Rogers here, your friendly neighborhood realtor. Listen, I'm over here in Broomall at Little Tots Academy, enjoying a night out with the family here in Media, PA.
But first, meet Pop-Up.
My name is David Callahan. I'm Andrew's grandfather, a.k.a. Pop-Up.
What can you tell us about our family?
Well, the Irish side both came over from Ireland, settled in West Philadelphia. And they came over here with nothing, had a handful of children, raised them all. They all went to school.
Chillin',
they
you know,
all worked,
Kellen.
They all
Chillin',
got married.
Kellen.
And so, I mean, you know, and I got along well with all my cousins, so that was great.
So your dad is Cornelius Callahan. What was your grandpa's name?
Jeremiah.
And there he is, Jeremiah.
He smoked a pipe, occasional cigar, but mostly a pipe. Talk with a heavy Irish brogue, but, you know, was the patriarch and family, that's for sure. When he spoke, it happened.
My name's Bobby Rogers. I am Andrew's second cousin.
Yes, I do help buyers and all find their forever homes. I do help investors find their homes. Bobby Rogers here, your local friendly neighborhood realtor.
So, going back to the very beginning, so Jeremiah came from Ireland.
Jeremiah came from Ireland.
Do you know where in Ireland he came from?
Cork. I don't know the town, but it's the southern region of Ireland.
Cork.
Yeah. A lot of our family, which was told to me years ago, came over here, fled because a lot of them were lost in the potato wars. The way that I understand is that they moved to West Philadelphia. Pop Callahan bought their houses on 52nd and Stiles.
After talking to Bobby, I made my way to Stiles Street in West Philadelphia, where I reached a literal and figurative dead end. I made some good friends, but there were no Irish vibes to be found anywhere. According to some older folks in the neighborhood, all the white people fled in the 1960s to escape the blacks. Bummer. There was no trace of Jeremiah or his vibes anywhere. Now couple that with the lack of any notable information that I was able to gather at the Irish events. Between those two disappointing and underwhelming shoots, I decided to drop the project for good and simply move on. But then, slowly but surely, Ireland and Irish people became cool again. I'm not quite sure how and when it happened. Not saying they weren't cool before, but after Cillian Murphy was caught mean-mugging Prince Harry in 4K, the Great Awakening began. And then, boom. All of a sudden, a rap trio called Kneecap goes number one, rocking IRA ski masks, Palestine flags, and spitting a sizable portion of their bars in a language that most people didn't even know existed.
For live
I learned
streaming,
the language was
live
called
streaming
Irish
on
or
3
Gaelic, a tongue
platforms
spoken
right
by
now.
less than 72,000 people who fought tooth and nail to resist cultural erosion at the hands of our common enemy. I had so many questions. Could it be that these 3 lads could revive Jeremiah's swag? Is it possible to link with these dudes? Are there any Callahans left in the old country? Should I get a plane ticket? Before I could even respond to myself in the mirror, which is what I do when I have questions, I was already on a plane to the old country with a heart full of adventure.
All right, guys, we made it. County Cork, I'm home. Andrew Callahan has returned to his spiritual ancestral homeland to reclaim a couple of fangs. It feels crazy. I'm kind of like these plants here because I'm really from the soil. My whole life I've been existing in a hellish settler colony called the United States. White Claw!
I'm posting so much overage stuff lately.
I didn't realize that 92% of me actually grew from this pasture.
Smoking is a violation.
Like the
Hey, that's
earthworms
allowed. You're allowed to
and
say
the green
that.
leaves. Andrew Callahan is
Sophia.
home in the ancestral Callahan lands.
As I sat and waited for a response from any of the genetic matches I discovered on my 20 profile,
fucking
I figured
nerd.
I'd hit the streets of Mallow, birthplace of Jeremiah, to see
Are
if
you
I
a
could find any
nerd?
Callahans lurking in the wild. You know anybody with the last name Callahan?
I know.
You know anybody with the last name Callahan around here?
Not some.
Okay.
Fucking nerd
I
ass.
don't really.
You know anybody with the last name Callahan around here? Yeah.
No.
Do you know which way they are?
Those are violations.
No idea which way they are right now.
Okay, cool. What's your PIN number? You know anybody with the last name Callahan around here?
I wouldn't be able to tell you that. No, I'm not from Mallow myself, so no.
But is it a pretty common name in this area?
It would be in the Cork region, yeah, it would be.
How many people would I have to ask, you think, until I find one?
Quite a few, maybe.
Okay.
Keep asking.
We have to ask every single person if we're going to
Nothing
find one.
on Twitch.
You know anybody with the last name Callahan?
Who?
Callahan?
Nothing on Twitch.
Callahan, yeah. There's loads of Callahans around, but I don't know where they are. Probably all inside the pub getting langers.
My former boss didn't suck Callahan. He died. He's dead now.
While I wasn't having much luck actually finding a Callahan, I did find a bit of Callahan lore.
Oh, Callahan, oh yes, it's famous name of Callahan here in North Cork. There's a Drumneen Castle where the O'Callahans came from.
That's right, the Callahans had a castle.
You guys probably can't see this, but over yonder, past that cow pasture, is the Callahan Castle.
To learn a bit more about the Callahan Kingdom, which apparently thrived in the 1500s, I went to visit the best-selling author, podcast host, and impromptu Irish historian, Blind Boy.
That'd be the real O'Callaghan shit. So you had a strange thing in Ireland, right, where you had these things called petty kingdoms, multiple little kingdoms, tiny little kingdoms. But the story is, there was a dude called Callahan, and Callahan was a king. Callahan means a bright head. So he either had really blonde hair or was mad smart, and we don't know. So Callahan was feuding with the Vikings of Limerick. Callahan was feuding with them, and he was feuding with Irish kings up in Leinster, up in Dublin. The Vikings and the Leinstermen, they kidnapped Callahan, and what they also did is they ritualistically tortured him and humiliated him. But then while he was kidnapped, because he was so important, it united all the small kingdoms of Munster, and
No
they
one.
came together to go and rescue Callahan. So they rescued him, and when they rescued him from the Vikings and Dublin people and took him back, then he had his revenge, and he defeated the Vikings of Limerick, and he defeated the people in Dublin to legitimise kingship.
I could hardly believe it. Royalty. Little old me. Wow. At that point, I had to lay eyes on the castle. And after some words of directional wisdom from our friend in Mallow,
It's on the River Blackwater, Drumneen Castle. That's where they had O'Callaghan's. So they have a stronghold there, actually.
we started off down the narrow, flora-covered Irish path toward the Callahan Kingdom, where unfortunately I ran into our first literal roadblock. A gate, coupled with a herd of angry cows. And a sign.
Unfortunately, it's now owned by the Irish Sugar Plantation, so I can't access it.
It seemed impassable.
I'm
but
ending
then
this
I recalled
live.
some advice from earlier in the day.
Everyone
Get a
comment
drone, maybe,
something.
Fly
Say,
over.
hey,
So
Zane.
that's what I did, and finally I was able
Everyone
to lay
say,
eyes
"Hey,
on what
Zane."
remained of our castle. Yes, oh what a feeling. But this feeling of bliss was short-lived.
Your people's ancestral lands, the Callaghan people, when Cromwell came in, your people would have just had titles stripped, nothing. You're not royal anymore, you mean nothing. You're peasants now, and the land that was yours is gone. But your people would have gone
TikTok's the only
from
fucking
royalty
one that
to
works.
While this was a slight